All right, y'all, welcome to a bonus episode of Coming In Hot. I'm going to go ahead and not delve into any NFL style news today, but we're going to talk about what I'm wearing right now, which is money green. We're going to do the complete idiot's guide to betting because I'm your local idiot and I know about betting. Am I very good at it? Hell no. But you know what? Who really is? I don't know. I'm just going to tell you what to do, how to do it. And if you guys got any questions, again, you can always hit me up in the comments on YouTube. You can hit me up with voice messages on Anchor. Or you can always, if you know me, feel free to reach out to me. And when I get that Facebook page up and running again, feel free to hit me up on there. On that note, let's talk about money green. All right, so I've got my Green Bay Packers Clay Matthews basketball jersey on. Tell me how I got this. I have no idea. I went into a local Goodwill and they had this thing. I had to have it because this baby is stitched and I love it. On that note, let's talk about Money Green, your complete local idiot's guide to betting. So again, I work in a casino. I work in a sports book, one of my favorite places to be. I absolutely love the thing. Let me tell you what. Betting is not hard. Again, if you're not in an area in which you cannot bet, whether it be with a sports book, whether it be with a local sports book, or whether it be with a on an app where it's approved in certain states. Mind you, this information will not help you unless you go to a state in which you can do so. You also must be over the age of 21. So I do not condone anyone under the age of 21 betting. It is not legal. I do not promote illegal stuff. Now, I work in a sports book. I love my job. It's very, very fun. And I'm pulling my lines here again from Caesars, their partnership with ESPN. I did get my information off of VegasInsider.com. We're going to go over a couple of week one games just to kind of give you some examples of exactly what I'm talking about. I got papers here I'm going to show you. And so don't mind if I'm looking down at stuff and trying to read a lot of this information. I can't keep all this stuff in my head that much because there's a lot of information. Now, so let's break down some of the basic terms. So when it comes to betting, you've got generally three options. They've got a money line bet, they have a spread bet, and they have an over-under bet. So your money line bet is a straight victory. So if you're betting on, let's say, we're going to talk about the Bills and the Rams a lot. If you're talking about the Bills and the Rams, Week 1 NFL, if you take the Bills on the money line, you are projecting them. They just have to win the game. They don't have to win by a certain amount of points. They don't have to win by anything other than just at the end of the game, they won the game. Buffalo Bills win the game. They beat the Rams. You win your money line bet. Now, if you do a spread bet's a little bit differently. A spread bet, it gives you a certain amount of points and a point value. So in this case, the Bills are minus 2.5 points. So what the minus means that the Bills are the favorite. They're the favorite to win the game. Now, minus 2.5 points means that at the end of the game, you take the score from the Buffalo Bills. Let's say they win 30-27. So the Bills win 30-27. You take that 30 points, you minus 2.5 points. And when you take that minus 2.5 points off of the 30 points, they're going to have 27.5 points, right? So because the Rams only scored 27, but the Bills have 27.5, you still win that bet because the Bills had to win by at least 3 points, which they did. So that's a spread bet. A spread bet, now it goes the opposite direction too. So if the Rams are plus 2.5, so let's say the game ends 30-28, and the Rams have that plus 2.5 at the end of the game, you take the Rams score of 28, you add 2.5 points to it, and then if that is higher than the score of the Bills, then they win. So in this example, 30-28, you add 2.5 points to the 28 points. They now have 30.5 points. Therefore, you win that bet. Now, that little half point is called a hook. That half point is there for that exact reason. It gets you a victory. It can get you a loss. If you don't have the hook, you can do what's called a push because especially in football, really in no sports is there a half point bet. There's no such thing as a half point bet. You can't get a half a point. You can't win in basketball by half a point. You can't win in football by half a point. Hockey, none of those can you win by half a point. So in betting is the only place you can win by half a point with a half point hook. So that hook you live or die by the hook. I personally do not like hooks. I would much rather take a push bet, which is called a void, which I can talk about here in a second. So with that hook bet, again, in that 30-27 example for the Bills, they minus 2.5 points, they win. Now, if they had the score been 30 to 28, and you took the Bills at minus 2.5, you lose that bet because now they're at 27.5 points. The Rams have 30 or have 28, excuse me, and now you've lost that bet because you take that 2.5 points, the minus, and subtract it from the Bills score. And as long as you subtract it from the Bills score and that score is higher, then you still win. If that score drops below the other team's score, in this case the Rams, you lose the bet. Now, if you took money line, again, if the Bills win, you choose money line. Bills win, doesn't matter. Now, in a money line scenario, so I'll show you this example. In a money line scenario here, we've got the Bills. It's not very clear. I apologize. All right, I'm going to just read it here because it's not very clear. So they got the Bills here at minus 135. So in this case, everything, all the minus odds are all based on a $100 bet. As I said in the last episode, it's based on a $100 bet. So in a minus 135 scenario, you'd have to bet $135 in order to win $100. Now, no, you're not losing $35. It's the common misunderstanding in the way that the statement is made. But you're betting $135 to win a profit of $100. So you get your $135 back and you get $100. So you win a total of $235. Now, mind you, in this case as well, the Rams are plus 115. So again, if you bet $100, you win $115. So the minus is you have to bet that amount to win 100, which is to win a $100 profit. And in this case, when it comes to pluses, you bet $100 to win that plus money as your profit. So you bet 100 to win 215. So you're going to win more money with the money line on the underdog, which is the team expected to lose. So in this case, the Rams are expected to lose this game. The Rams are plus 2.5 points. The Bills are minus 2.5. Minus means favorite. Usually, now this is not always the case, but usually your minus spread will also be your minus money line. I've seen it occasionally where that is not the case, but usually your minus spread and your minus money line are going to be the same team, and that means that they are the presumptive favorite. Now, there are scenarios where the games are so close that the minus money line, you could have two minus money lines, but the higher the minus money line, like a minus 115 as opposed to a minus 103, means the minus 115 is still the more expected to win because you got to put up more money to win, your presumptive $100. So you'd have to put up 115 to win 100 instead of 103 to win 100. So you still have to put up a little bit more money. Therefore, they're still the expected favorite. Now, that does not mean stay away from underdogs. Underdogs can win you a lot of money. Underdogs can also just, sometimes an underdog is made an underdog, but they're not necessarily an underdog. If for that to make sense, like the Rams in this case, the Rams are a 2.5 point underdog. However, the Rams are an extremely good team, as well are the Bills, but within a game this close, that 2.5 points may not be a lot, but I mean, the Rams could necessarily win this game, so you can win yourself $115 on a $100 bet because you could just pick the money line and they could just crush. Very possible. Now, in a spread bet, you have the option of the point spread. In football, it's point spread. In most games, it's point spread, basketball, football. Now, in baseball, it's called a run line bet, and in hockey, it's called a puck line bet. They're all spread bets. It's just different ways to call the spread bets. So in some cases, as I was telling you, so in baseball, the run line, there's cases where your favorite is, the minus on the money line. But when you take them to a spread bet at minus 1.5, they're not expecting to win by 1.5. So that, if you do the minus 1.5, is going to be plus money to take them to win by 2 runs because they might win, but they're probably only going to win by 1. So we're not going to give you. So if they win by 2, you're going to get extra money because they're not expected to do that. So basically, everything about betting is based on expectation. The expectation is, hey, the Bills are going to beat the Rams. Therefore, you're going to pay more money to win $100. You're going to have to pay more. But that's not always the case. Now, generally in spread betting, your odds stay about the same. So in this example here, the minus 2.5 is at minus 110. Well, the plus 2.5 is also minus 110 because you have to pay a little bit more because we're giving you a slight advantage. So you're giving you 2.5 points, or giving you the enhancement fee essentially of that 10 cents off of the 100 or the $10 off $100, because you have to. Vegas and the books always have to get their money. They're going to have to make some money somehow, some way, and that's going to be how essentially they're going to do it. Having you pay that little bit of an enhancement fee. All right, so we've covered hooks, we've covered money line, we've covered spread. Now we've got over-unders. Over-unders are the total amount of points in the game. So again, we'll go with 30-27. The over-under in this game is expected to be 52 points. So if it's 30-27, they scored a total of 57 points. So therefore that game goes over. So the over-under, you're betting on whether the game is going to go over the 52 points or under the 52 points in the game itself. Now that's the total combined points between the two teams. It's that straightforward. I mean, you take the two teams' scores and you add them up at the end. If it goes over the total, it's over. If you picked over, you win. If it goes under, you picked under, you win, of course. However, let's say that the total matches up. It's 30-22. Doesn't matter which team wins. It's 30-22. The total score is set at 52. So what happens in that scenario? In that scenario, you bet $100. The odds are at -110 each. You bet $110 or whatever to win $100. So you bet $110. They score 52 total points. Do you win or do you lose? It's a trick question. You don't lose or you don't win. What you do is you get what's called a void or a push. It can be said either way. What that does is all that does is void your ticket out. So it takes your $110. It gives you that $110 back. You bet 110 or 10, 15, 11, whatever you bet. You just get your money back. Because if that score lands exactly on it. Now that's where the hook becomes dangerous, because the hook can kill you if they scored 52 points exactly and you had over 52 and it was 52, or you had over 52 and a half, you lost. But if you had under 52 and a half, you win because it landed on 52. But at 52, I prefer pushes. I prefer to push because now in a parlay, which I'll explain to you in here in just a second, in a parlay, it would drop it off your ticket. So if you had a 5-team parlay, that now drops it down to a 4-team parlay. So your expected payout initially will then drop by some amount of money, usually kind of a large amount, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, if you still win, you still win. Listen, make money. That's all I'm saying. All right, so a parlay is some combination of multiple bets. It has to be two or more bets. In certain casinos, you can only go up to 10. Some casinos you can go up to 15. Some you can go as high as like 25. Now, online is a little bit different than in person. In-person sports books, sometimes you can only go up to so many. You're only going to get 10 to 12. They're only going to allow so many. Online sports books will give you a lot more options. Unfortunately, in the state that I live in, I don't have the ability to do online sports books, but there's a lot of local states around me here that can. So in those things, you can generally bet a lot more. You can bet more than 10, more than, like I said, 15 to 18, sometimes even 25, which is insane. And now in those situations, when you're building the parlay, you can have multiple low negatives. You can have a -700 plus a -500 plus a -300 plus a -100. And as you start to stack those things up, eventually those things will turn into plus money. Now, the more you stack, the more risk you're taking, the more money you can potentially make. However, if one of them loses, if you've got 5 teams and one team loses, guess what? You're done. Doesn't matter. Ticket's dead in the water. Now, it's risky to do so, but again, as you start to stack those teams, you start to add more money to it. So you could essentially bet $5 to win $5,000. Now, I don't highly recommend that because chances are you're going to lose $5 a day as opposed to winning $5,000. But heck, you never know. I've seen somebody turn 50 cents into $3,000. It's possible, although unlikely. So with a parlay, again, anything over 2, anything under them at their maximum pretty much is what a parlay is, and that's just the ability to stack. Now, you can stack things like you can stack them. Let's say, hey, this is a simple parlay. Bills -2.5 over 52. That's how I think it's going to happen. I think the Bills are going to win by 3 points, and it's going to go over 52. -110 and -110 is going to give you plus money. Quick and simple. It's as simple as that. And you can add anything else in your parlay too. You can add UFC and baseball and football and over-unders and everything in your parlays that you want. You can add soccer, you can add all kinds of different things. So your parlays are not limited to one sport. You can spread your parlays out through multiple sports. So if you're a fan of football like I am, but also love soccer, but also watch baseball, and you're like, hey, I think this team's gonna win. I think this team can win. I think this is. You can add them all together, as many as you can, up to your maximum. But again, the more you add to it, the more money you can make, but the more risk you take. Which is why even betting $5 could win you almost $5,000, because Vegas isn't taking much of a risk. They're literally saying, okay, cool, you're going to bet 18 teams. The odds of these 18 exact teams winning this day is fairly impossible. So you know what? We're going to give you $5,000. You're like, all right, cool, I'll go ahead and do it. But hell, you might win. I mean, and it's very possible. I've seen it. I see it all the time. Now, sometimes it's definitely safer to do like let's say a 2-leg parlay or a 3-leg parlay, where you're betting maybe $100 as opposed to $5, but that $100 now is going to win you, $500 or $800. So you're adding money to you're stacking money because you got added things that are more likely to happen. You're taking in your mind less risk to compound your money. You're turning 100 into 400. That feels pretty good. So ultimately, you make the decision that's best for you. For me personally, I don't like going over 5. I do it way too often, going over 5, but my rule is generally I don't like to go over 4 or 5. Is kind of where I live. But I also like prop bets. Now, prop bets are different things. You can do prop bets on just about anything. In football, I absolutely love prop bets. I love anytime touchdown scores, which is literally a player, one single player to score a touchdown. All he has to do is score the touchdown. And I'm not saying he has to score the touchdown and it doesn't count, or he dropped the ball, or it's overturned, or whatever. You have to score the touchdown, make the extra, or kick the extra point, I guess, and then that is your setup, pretty much. So, like for me, for example, what I said on the last one was I absolutely love Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews anytime touchdown scores pretty much every single week. Now, I will probably follow my fantasy advice, my fantasy logic, and I will probably look at matchups towards anytime touchdowns because, of course, every week, hey, they've got really good linebackers. They cover the tight end really well. Hey, they play the Chiefs really well. Hey, they play the Ravens really well. Maybe that's not a good matchup because their linebackers match up really well against those tight ends, so maybe I'll do it differently. However, chances are, and the nice thing I like about anytime touchdown scores is for the most part, majority of them are plus money. And again, plus money is what? Plus money is going green, let's make money. Because ultimately, that's what you're in it to do. You're not betting just for the fun of it, which you might be, but at the same time, you want to make money. If you can turn 5 into 50, hell, that's a win for me. So what I would say in that scenario, I would tell you that if you can, anytime touchdown scores, you can do touchdown passes. Another one I really like, Josh Allen over 1.5 touchdowns. How often does Josh Allen throw over 1.5 touchdowns? Almost every single week. Now, mind you, it might go into the minus territory. And again, if you want to stack money, you can take a safer bet like that, which is a minus money, add another minus money to it, turn it into plus money, bet your $10, win, $15. So now instead of 10, now you've got 25. Not a bad deal. But keep your parlay short if you're going to do a parlay. If you're going to do that, that's my recommendation. Personally, I prefer to keep my parlays short because if you keep your parlays short, there's less risk involved for yourself. You're picking things that you are certain of. Do not put things in your bets that you are not sure of. If you're like, oh, hey, well, I'm just throwing it in to make the number bigger. I'm throwing it in to make the number bigger. Chances are you're going to lose. Chances are that's the game that you're going to lose. And if you win the first 6 that you like and you lose the 7th that you didn't, you fucked up. I know I do it all the damn time because I'm sitting there, I'm like, let me just throw this guy on here. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. He doesn't hit, and I'm like, shit, I lost my fucking bet because of one stupid pick. I'm tired of losing by 1 pick. Brings me to my next point, and the last thing I'm going to get to here today on your local idiot's guide to betting, and that's a round robin. A round robin is something simple. So if you take a round robin, you can do a round robin by 2 picks. So you can take 3 teams that you like. The round robin requires at least 3 teams, essentially. So if you pick the Bills to win, the Saints to win, and the Packers to win, all in week 1, right? If you do a round robin by 2s, by picks, you're taking the Bills and the Saints, and you're taking the Bills and the Packers, and you're taking the Saints and the Packers. So you're taking 3 picks, three picks together, okay? So you've got the Bills and Saints, the Bills and Packers, Saints and Packers. If one of those teams loses, you still win a bet. Now, in a round robin scenario, in that case, you have to bet $5 three times. You're betting if you're betting five, bet $5. If you're betting $5, you're betting it three times, so you're paying $15 out on three $5 three or two leg parlays. Okay, so you're betting $5 on the Bills and the Saints. You're betting $5 on the Bills and the Packers. You're betting $5 on the Saints and the Packers. So you're betting $5 each. So the number that it gives you usually at the end, the total amount that you could win, is a requirement that you, and the only way you're going to win that amount is if all three teams win. Now, if all three teams win, great. You won three $5 two leg parlays. That's beautiful. You can also do an round robin. You can do a three leg parlay or a $5 three leg parlay. So you could invest $20, take your three teams, put them in three two leg parlays in case one loses, and your three leg parlay in case all three win, and then you win four bets. A $5 two leg parlay, $5 two leg parlay, $5 two leg parlay, $5 three leg parlay. $5 three leg parlay is going to pay you out a little bit more. So in that case, now you've got four winning bets if you take those three teams. Now, a round robin can be expanded all the way up until their maximum for the most part. I know in certain casinos you can do up to like 8. You can do like 8 teams, 8 leg parlays. So it breaks it down. If you have 9 teams, you have 8 legs and 8 legs. Several different combinations you can do it, but you do have to pay for each parlay that you would do, and it stacks up very differently, and it adds a lot more to it. So, but again, if one loses, if you're used to losing by one team, having that 8 leg or 7 leg parlay brings your money down a little bit, but it does give you the opportunity to win some money, which could ultimately, win profit for you, which is what we're always looking for. Again, part of what I was talking about in the last episode was, we were talking about dollars not making sense. Like sometimes I'm taking bets that I'm like, wow, this seems idiotic, but the value's there to make you more money. And ultimately, we're talking about money green. That's all we're trying to do today. Again, scared money don't make money. Don't live or die by that. But in the betting world, we all do. Scared money don't make money. It's a big inside joke when it comes to sports betting, but let me tell you what, love it. So on that note, we're going to finish off here. I'm going to go ahead and go through some of my division winner bets. There is some value to be made here. Now, again, this is my value, and I'm not always the best picker, but live or die by my picks if you want to. That's up to you. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep giving them. I enjoy it. Again, I work in there a lot. I study a lot. I sit. When I'm at work, I sit and I just look at numbers. So I enjoy it. So on that note, I pulled these numbers again from the Caesars app, and I'm going to give you some ones that I like, and then ones that I think are better value. So on that note, division winners, NFC East, Dallas plus 130. Again, plus money is king. Plus money is king. But I think Dallas will be dethroned, possibly by Philadelphia. It depends on how Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown come together, which right now personally does not look very good. But Philadelphia plus 155, also good money. I mean, value there is very, very nice. Now, in certain places, you can also parlay certain division winners. So you take somebody like a Philadelphia plus 155, even parlay them with somebody like Green Bay, who's expected to win at minus 170. But you parlay those together, and all of a sudden you're at a little bit higher plus money. And if they both win the divisions, you win pretty good money. You can ultimately stack a little bit of future bets as well, which is not a bad thing at all. Very interesting bets. All right, in the NFC West, we've got the LA Rams at plus 120. So everybody in this division is at plus money. Every single team. Same with the NFC East. Everybody is at plus money. The Rams at plus 120. They won it last year. Makes perfect sense. Super Bowl champions coming off a Super Bowl season. Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Allen Robinson. They've added talent. So they've even gotten better. So them winning the division wouldn't really be a shock. But again, at plus 120, I love that pick. San Francisco plus 180, as you know from my last episode, I like them to not even make the playoffs. So plus 180, value is good. However, I don't trust Trey Lance to save my life. I would not make that bet. But Arizona plus 350, that is a massive, massive odds. And quite honestly, they could come out and go nuts. Even without DeAndre Hopkins, added Hollywood Brown. They did add a little bit of talent here and there. But I don't buy into Kyler Murray. I personally want, and you'll hear this all season long. I don't buy into Kyler Murray until he's still got something to prove to me. Because after they lost that damn Green Bay game, they got their asses just destroyed through the rest of the season. So personally, I am not a fan of Arizona. But plus 350 value wise, incredible value. $10 to win 35, absolutely beautiful value. NFC South, Tampa Bay at minus 300 sounds great. I'm buying them to take a step back. New Orleans plus 340 to win their division. Plus 340. $10 win 34. That's good money. That value is incredible and entirely possible. Carolina, Atlanta, not a chance in hell. NFC North, Green Bay minus 170. Of course, I'm going to say them clearly. But Minnesota plus 250 could be highly underrated. Also could sneak in and steal the division. It's very possible. $10 to win 25. Can't really beat that. But also sneaky pick. And again, sneaky phenomenal value from people who are buying into the Detroit train, which is to win the division. I highly doubt it. But plus 900 screams high value. And quite honestly, again, just because it's all about the dollars not making sense. And right now, that shit don't make sense. But let me tell you what, that is some money right there. $10 to win $90. Not a bad deal. Probably wouldn't take that bet. But, I mean, shit, you never know. Buffalo minus 230. Chances are they're going to win the division. They're still one of the top teams. NFL favorite. Josh Allen, MVP favorite. Through the roof. Minus 230. Again, bet 230 to win $100. Value's not really there, but likely pick. New England, Miami, either one of them to win the division, 400 plus 475, $10 to win 47.50. Advantage with Miami is they highly improved Teron Armstead, Tyreek Hill. They got rid of Devontae Parker, but still have Jalen Waddle. They've got like 18 running backs. Mike McDaniel's new head coach highly loves his running backs, loves swirling his running backs at that. And on top of that, you still have Mike Gesicki and a talented defense. So Miami could sneaky play come through if Tua, kind of all depends on what Tua does. We'll see. NFC West, everyone's plus money. Value is there for everybody. You literally could pick anybody in that division. Chances are you're going to win a decent amount of money. Even if you bet $10 per team, you're likely to still win a decent amount of money. Unless Kansas City wins. And then you're kind of lost money somehow. Kansas City plus 175. LA Chargers plus 220. Denver plus 275. And Las Vegas comes in at plus 600. There's value all around that. Again, you pick any of those four teams, pair them up with a couple of favorites, Buffalo and Green Bay. So Green Bay wins the division, Buffalo wins the division. You add any one of those plus teams on it, you've exponentially blown your three-leg division winner parlay, and all of a sudden you're a plus 600 for $10, and you're winning. I don't know, you're winning maybe $100. Not a bad deal. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure how the exponential works. All right, NFC South, Indy minus 125 was plus money for a while, even right after the Matt Ryan trade. However, everybody's buying into them. However, they do not seem as crisp as I was hoping they were going to be. Now, granted, Matt Ryan's not playing fully in the preseason. Preseason does not mean shit to me, but they're a team to keep an eye on. Tennessee plus 170. They faded quite a bit. Somebody to keep an eye on, and again, value screams Tennessee because Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, still there. Very talented team. Mike Vrabel, super talented coach. I like that as well. North, another team, value everywhere. Baltimore plus 140. Cincinnati plus 165. Baltimore won the division last year. Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl. Could go either way. Joe Burrow's still there. I'm buying a regression in Baltimore. Love Lamar Jackson. He is absolutely phenomenal. I faded him early on in his career. I am eating my words right now. Lamar Jackson is a super talented quarterback who has really grown as a passer and a runner. He's a very, very talented quarterback. Losing Hollywood Brown hurts. Not really replacing him with anybody except for his tight ends. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. I just picked him up in fantasy. So all my fantasy league friends that are watching this, just a heads up, I picked up Isaiah Likely in fantasy this morning. Big fan. 100 yards, 8 catches, 100 yards. I'll take it. just on potential alone. Beautiful. Sneaky value. Pittsburgh plus 1,000. Plus 1,000. Why not? I mean, Kenny Pickett's looked very, very good. Najee Harris is very talented. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens looks good. Freiermuth. Love Freiermuth. Fantasy tight end right there. Because I didn't get Andrews or Kelsey. Whatever, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I got Mahomes and Herbert. We'll talk about that tomorrow or in the next couple days. So either way. So there's a lot of different things. Pittsburgh sneaky value plus 1,000. Love the pick. Again, sneaky money. You never know. I mean, shoot, if you win, that's great money. Great money. 10 to win 100. Win $110 back. You get your $100 profit. Not a bad thing. Again, dollars don't always make sense. But scared money don't make money either. Just remember that. On that note, guys, this is your local Idiot's Guide to Betting. If you have any questions for me, leave them in the comments. You got the YouTube page. We've got, again, the Anchor app. You can call in. You can call and leave me a voicemail. Cool, interesting, different. If you know me, call me. If you got questions, text me. I don't care. I'm all about it. If you don't, Facebook page will be up in a couple weeks. You've got the podcast pages, Google, Spotify, Apple. It's on everything, coming in hot. Fire emoji. So on that note, guys, man, check this out again. The locals Idiot's Guide to Betting. This is my local take on telling you how to bet. If you've got any more questions, man, feel free to hit me up. On that note, guys, we'll see you later this week. We'll get you into a little bit more. I got a little bit more news to go over, but I'm going to do that later in the week. On that note, guys, we'll catch y'all later.